Doesn't it just make your blood boil to watch the NBA offseason unfold like a cruel, drawn-out chess match, where the futures of promising young talents hang precariously in the balance, seemingly held hostage by arcane rules and unyielding front office stances? Are we, as passionate fans, simply pawns in a high-stakes game of contractual brinkmanship, left to wonder if logical solutions and exciting player movement will ever truly materialize when the league's own regulations seem designed to complicate rather than facilitate progress? This isn't just about a potential trade. It's a saga that encapsulates the bewildering dance of contracts, cap space, and strategic maneuvering, with the latest rumblings involving the Golden State Warriors' Jonathan Kuminga and the Chicago Bulls' Josh Giddey painting a vivid, if frustrating, picture of this complex landscape. The NBA offseason, typically a whirlwind of blockbuster deals and splashy free agent signings, has in many corners settled into a tense, protracted stalemate. While some franchises have made decisive moves, others find themselves locked in agonizing negotiations, particularly with their restricted free agents. Two of the most prominent examples of this league-wide predicament involve two dynamic high-potential forwards, Jonathan Kuminga of the Golden State Warriors and Josh Giddey of the Chicago Bulls. Both players are young, both possess immense upside, and both find themselves in a precarious contractual limbo, their futures uncertain as their respective teams engage in rigorous, often frustrating negotiations. Kuminga, the explosive forward for the Warriors, has been at a very public impasse with his team over a new contract. A key piece of Golden State's future, his athleticism and defensive versatility make him an invaluable asset. Yet, despite his clear importance, the two sides have been unable to bridge the gap on a long-term deal. Similarly, across the country in Chicago, Josh Giddey, the Bulls' uniquely talented playmaker, finds himself in an almost identical predicament. Acquired in a significant offseason trade, Giddey was envisioned as a foundational building block for the Bulls, a player whose elite passing and court vision could unlock new dimensions for their offense. But like Kuminga, he too remains a restricted free agent, caught in the contractual quicksand of modern NBA economics. It is against this backdrop of mutual frustration and contractual uncertainty that an intriguing, albeit highly improbable, rumor began to circulate through the league's inner circles. NBA insider Jake Fisher, during a live stream for Bleacher Report, dropped a bombshell that momentarily ignited the imaginations of fans in both Golden State and Chicago. The Golden State Warriors, he reported, have expressed at least some interest in a Jonathan Kuminga for Josh Giddey trade. I can report that there have been multiple teams that have reached out to Josh Giddey's representation about having interest in him, Fisher revealed, sending ripples through the NBA landscape. Golden State is one of them. Golden State would be interested, depending on how the machinations would go, in some kind of Josh Giddey/Jonathan Kuminga sign-and trade, to my understanding. Imagine the possibilities. A fresh start for two young talents, a potential shakeup that could inject new life into both franchises. For the Warriors, Giddey's playmaking could offer a different dimension to their offense, easing the burden on their aging stars. For the Bulls, Kuminga's raw athleticism and defensive upside could provide the kind of two-way impact they desperately need. It sounded, on paper, like a tantalizing prospect, a genuine win-win scenario that could break the stalemates for both players and teams. However, as is often the case in the labyrinthine world of NBA transactions, the reality is far more complex than the tantalizing headline. Fisher was quick to temper expectations, adding a crucial caveat. The Chicago Bulls, thus far, have shot down all calls for a Giddey sign-and trade. This immediate roadblock highlights the Bulls' firm stance on retaining their young Australian, even amidst the ongoing contract dispute. They view Giddey as a core piece, and they're not eager to part with him, especially not in a sign-and-trade scenario that might not yield equal value. Yet, there's another layer to this intriguing rumor. Fisher also noted that the Bulls have had a historical interest in Kuminga. They made outreach to Golden State early in the offseason about Kuminga. They've talked about Kuminga in various trade conversations with the Warriors in the past when Golden State was checking in on Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. This tidbit adds a fascinating dimension, suggesting that while the current trade proposal might be a long shot, The underlying interest between the two franchises for these specific players is not entirely new. It implies a mutual admiration, a recognition of each other's talent that makes the theoretical swap even more compelling. But here's where the dream of a Kuminga Giddy swap crashes headfirst into the cold, hard wall of NBA rules and regulations. This trade, even if both teams were fully on board, is a long shot primarily due to logistical reasons, specifically the dreaded base year compensation BYC rule. A double sign-and-trade deal involving two restricted free agents is incredibly difficult to pull off, and the BYC rule is the primary culprit. Let's break down this arcane regulation, because understanding it is key to grasping the monumental challenge this trade presents. For the purposes of a sign-and-trade, the BYC rule dictates that a player's outgoing salary counts for only half, 50%, of its annual average on the sending team's books, but for the full amount on the receiving team's books. This creates a massive imbalance that makes direct two-team swaps almost impossible. Consider a hypothetical example. If Jonathan Kuminga were to sign a new contract with an average annual salary of $20 million for the Golden State Warriors, his outgoing salary in a trade would only count as $10 million. But for the Chicago Bulls, the team receiving him, his incoming salary would count as the full $20 million. The same principle applies in reverse for Josh Giddey. If he signed a deal averaging $20 million, his outgoing salary for the Bulls would be $10 million, but for the Warriors, it would be $20 million incoming. Do you see the problem? The math simply doesn't align for a direct swap. To make the salaries match under these conditions, you would likely need at least three, and more realistically for teams involved in the trade. Imagine the complexity of coordinating a multi-team deal involving multiple general managers, agents, and ownership groups, all trying to navigate these convoluted financial rules while simultaneously trying to improve their own rosters. It's a logistical nightmare, a bureaucratic labyrinth that often stifles even the most sensible of transactions. Good luck putting that together, indeed. Adding another layer of complexity, recent reports suggest that the Warriors have reportedly pulled out of all Kuminga trade talks and now expect him to be with the team this fall. This shift in stance indicates a renewed commitment from Golden State to retain their young forward, perhaps realizing the immense difficulty of finding a suitable trade partner under the BYC constraints. The Warriors reportedly offered Kuminga a 2-year, $45 million contract, a substantial sum that reflects his growing value. However, Fisher confirmed previous reporting that Golden State wants a team option on the second year of that deal, and for Kuminga to waive the no-trade clause that would automatically come with such a contract, because it's effectively a 1-year deal, which could impact his bird rights down the line. Kuminga, understandably, isn't about to give up his only leverage in this situation, creating another sticking point in negotiations. The deadline to reach a deal for Kuminga is October 1st, which is the final day he could pick up his $7.8 million qualifying offer and play for that amount, then become an unrestricted free agent next summer. This deadline, while present, is still far enough away that neither side feels immense pressure to compromise immediately. The same holds true for the Giddey situation in Chicago. Both scenarios are expected to be worked out closer to training camp as both players and teams hold their ground, waiting for the other side to blink. Ultimately, while the idea of a Kuminga for Giddey trade is undeniably fascinating and on a purely basketball level could make sense for both sides, the harsh realities of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement make it an extreme long shot. The base year compensation rule is a significant hurdle, effectively requiring a multi-team blockbuster to facilitate what, on the surface, appears to be a straightforward player swap. It highlights a frustrating aspect of the modern NBA. The business side often overshadows the pure joy of the game, turning what should be exciting player movement into a bureaucratic slog. So, as we watch these contract stalemates unfold, we are reminded that the NBA is not just about dazzling highlights and championship parades. It's a league built on intricate rules, strategic maneuvering, and the delicate balance of power between players and teams. The Kuminga and Giddy situations are prime examples of this ongoing tension, a testament to the fact that even the most logical of solutions can be derailed by the complex machinery of the league. It leaves us to ponder. Are these rules truly serving the best interests of the game, or are they simply creating unnecessary obstacles for players and franchises alike? What are your thoughts on this potential trade? Even if it's a long shot, do you believe the NBA's contract rules are too restrictive, or are they necessary for competitive balance? Share your insights, your frustrations, and your predictions in the comments below. And if this deep dive into the strategic heart of the NBA's offseason has captivated your attention, please hit that like button and subscribe for more exclusive reports that bring you closer to the action and the intricate decisions shaping our favorite league.